Okay, we're about to have our keynote speaker, so if you guys can keep eating, but just stay quiet so you can hear her. Her name's Olivia. She's a student at Elon. She's a sophomore, and she's sophomore class president, and she has a presentation for you guys, so you guys can give her your attention. Thank you.
How's everyone doing today? Fun day? I'm sure. Okay, so like you said, my name is Livi Murray. I am a sophomore from Atlanta, Georgia, majoring in communication design and political science. And when I first found out that I would have this amazing opportunity to come and speak to you all about the Cinderella Project, I was ecstatic. I mean, if I could have done 1,000,001 cartwheels in my room, I would have, but I don't have any upper body strength. So I'm not sure how that would have gone, but instead I decided to take the safe route and call my parents and let them know that I would have the opportunity to be talking to high school girls. And by the way, I applaud all of you all for being here. I have definitely been in your shoes, and I know from high school to college it can be kind of a tough transition, so snaps to you guys. But as I was talking to them, they were asking me, they were like, well, what are you going to talk about? I was like, yo, that is a huge factor in being able to give a speech. And when I think about the current events that are going on within our nation, I think of the #MeToo movement, where many women and many men are coming together and taking a stand against sexual assault as well as sexual harassment, and also fighting for women's equality. And also think of the Women's March, where a group of diverse women from all backgrounds are coming together and really starting to fight for issues pertaining to our nation. And one common theme throughout all of these events I realized was the idea of vulnerability, because you have to think, you know, when these people have the courage to step up and speak up, they have to have a certain degree of vulnerability. And so today I'm going to be incredibly vulnerable with you all, because I have learned that being vulnerable has helped me in the pursuit of trying to be perfect, trying to be the perfect student, trying to be the perfect girlfriend, trying to be the perfect daughter, trying to be the perfect athlete. It has also allowed me to be able to trust myself, trust my heart, trust my art, trust myself in different outlets. And the last thing it's allowed me to do is be more comfortable in sharing how I'm feeling within multiple audiences. And so if you go to the next slide. This is what vulnerability means according to dictionary.com. It says, vulnerability, susceptible to physical or emotional attack or harm, open to moral attack or criticism. I grew up thinking that if I was going to be vulnerable in a situation, it meant that I was weak. I feel like in society we put this negative connotation around it, but I feel as if the more vulnerable you are, the more you're able to create meaningful and careful selection with who you surround yourself with, as well as becoming more self-aware. And maybe today I can show you, I guess, the more positive benefits of being vulnerable and living an enriched life. And so, if you go to the next slide, there are 3 different kinds of vulnerability. The first kind is being the vulnerability that is thrusted upon you. The second kind is vulnerability that is a necessary state of being. So like if you're in a relationship, you kind of have to have a level of vulnerability with your partner in order to be on the same page. And the third kind is when you seek vulnerability. And if you go to the next slide, you'll see me, a 14-year-old girl entering high school. For some reason, this was around the time I was starting puberty as well as going into high school, and I just did not like wearing bras. My mom's over there, and she knows that she literally had to drag me back to the house just to get me to wear bras. So that was a whole different era of my life. So that was the first identity crisis I went under. But also, when I was 14, as you can see, I have shoulder-length black hair. The second semester of my high school career, in 9th grade, I actually got my hair cut off. And you can go to the next slide. By my dad, it was completely shaved. And a little bit of background on that. I grew up in a semi-strict Caribbean household, and I had done things big and small to lead me to this outcome. And it was an extremely hard transition, because especially I know for you all, growing up from the age of 12 to 13, 14, you're starting to build your confidence. And for me, I saw my hair as my identity. When you look at entertainers, especially Black female entertainers, they have this nice long, flowy black, blonde, orange hair. And I love to pluck my hair, and I love to do all these things. As you can see, I have long hair now. But it was a huge part of my identity, and so when my dad cut off my hair, I felt like he was, in a sense, robbing me of that. And I went to school the next day, and I cried, and I went to like Mellow Mushroom, Applebee's. The waiters would like mistake me for a guy, because my hair was literally as short as my brother's. And I realized that I needed to create a different idea of beauty. But through this, I had so much anger towards my dad. I literally wanted to hate him. I wanted to punch him. I wanted to do anything to get back at him, but in the end, I just forgave him. You can see the next slide, me and him. Because what I soon recognized in the struggle is that my hair doesn't define me, and maybe I can turn this into a good thing. And so the next time I experienced vulnerability was when I was 16. It was the first time I was in a relationship. So as I was saying earlier, when it's necessary to be vulnerable. And at 17, that was the first time I experienced heartbreak. Not only within my relationships, but also within my family. My aunt ended up passing away from cancer. And so I was crying every day. I thought the world was ending. I am a huge hopeless romantic. Does anyone read Sarah Desson or Susan Colasanti books? Yeah, so I had this idea of what love was supposed to be like, and I put so much energy and time and love into making someone else happy, and I realized I would have done anything to stay together with my high school boyfriend, but I stress this for people that are in a relationship, or that people that want to be in a relationship: never let someone else control your emotions more than you. Never let someone else control your emotions more than you, because it's harder to go down that road and come up rather than already having self-love established. So always remember that. And now I'm in a relationship with a guy that loves me, so never settle, ladies. Never settle, okay? The next time I experienced vulnerability was when I was seeking it. And so I was going to college, 17 to 18, and I went to a high school with a lot of racial tension. My principal actually got fired for being racist, and there was like a whole thing about Confederate flags and people invalidating Black Lives Matter. So I had this, I was kind of weary of the community that I was going to find here at Elon, already going through that at my high school. And I was going away from Atlanta, so that's 5 hours away from all my family and friends. And I had no direction of what I wanted to do at Elon. Luckily, the sophomore class president at the time came up to me when I was in Mosley, and he was telling me that I should run for SGA, which is our Student Government Association here on campus. And so I decided to run. My friends convinced me to run for president, and I ended up winning through hard work and campaigning. And it has absolutely transformed my life. And that's an example of me being vulnerable and putting myself out there on the line, still not knowing what the outcome would have been. That gave me the confidence to start my own platform for brown college girls with a few other friends, just creating more positive representation around brown girls in the media, as well as represented among many outlets. And then that confidence that I grew from both of those events has allowed me to create my own business. I started my own business August of last year, and it's gone viral. I've had Yara Shahidi, the star of Blackish and Brownish, wear my shirts. I've had Miles Lofton, a photographer, Vogue model Salem Mitchell, among other social media influencers. So that can just go to show the positive effects of what happens when you're vulnerable, right? And I completely understand that when you're in high school, especially transferring to college, these huge questions are starting to be raised in your life. You're like, who do I want to hang out with? Who do I want to surround myself with? And who are you? And when you don't have a good grasp on who you are, how do you truly know if you're being authentic with yourself? But the three things I've learned to live by, go to the next one, is that, for one, it's okay to ask for help. Like, for instance, last semester, first semester of my sophomore year in college, I was having an extremely hard time. And I guess if you look at my credentials on paper, it looks like I have most things together, right? I mean, I'm sophomore class president, I'm an RA, I am a tour guide, and I was absolutely miserable. Like, I was drowning in my academic work. I was drowning in my organizations. I was drowning in my social life and I didn't know where to turn. And I have the luxury of having a good relationship with my parents, so I was able to talk to them, and my mom actually came up to see me. I mean, I was going through a lot of stuff. I ended up getting strep throat of all things when all of this stuff was happening, so I was really sad, and I was able to lean on them to help pick me up. So never feel afraid to ask for help from your peers or your family members. The second thing I've learned is to never be afraid of rejection, because the fear of rejection is a part of vulnerability. I mean, there's no way you can prevent embarrassment or mistakes. So you should probably stop trying to be a perfectionist and stop trying to make other people happy. And I completely understand that's a lot easier said than done. But if I had let the fear of rejection rule my life, I wouldn't have my own business. I wouldn't be president of my class. I wouldn't be in a relationship. And I wouldn't have any of the opportunities that I've had because I would have been afraid to think outside of the box or jump outside of the box. And so I stress to say, when you don't get into your dream school or when you don't get an A on that huge test that you're studying for, there will be other opportunities. And maybe that's not the right path that you want to go on. You know, the path for you will be for you, so everything will be okay. The third thing that I've learned is to trust yourself. So I'm a photographer. On the side, my dad, as you can see back there, he's really into video cameras and photography. So I kind of got that creativity from him, and I love taking pictures of people, and I love editing pictures of people, but for some reason, I am never able to put my artwork out on the line. Like, I don't want people to judge it. I don't want any advice for it. I just kind of like want it to be for me, and I kind of realized that I needed to start putting my work out there, especially if I'm spending so many hours putting energy into it. I should probably put it out there. And so, through never feeling like I was good enough, I was like, you know what? Last summer I was like, I need to trust myself. I need to trust my art, and that's kind of how my business blossomed. And I channeled this into making my own business last summer, which has opened so many different doors for me. And so, when you're on your own path, don't worry about other people. You are you. Remember that you're good enough for specific opportunities. I know, especially as women, men may tell you, you're not good for this opportunity. You need to be more nice, you need to be less bossy. But if you don't take anything away from what I'm saying right now, just remember that vulnerability shapes authenticity, and being authentic creates power. When you're thinking about the fear of rejection and maybe, you know, not getting a specific opportunity, think about the other women that have helped pave the way for us and through the nation through being vulnerable, like, for instance, Oprah Winfrey, Rosa Parks, Ashley Judd, Mother Teresa, and of course Beyonce. I couldn't leave Beyonce out there. And mistakes shape us, heartbreak shapes us, failure shapes us, or why else would Taylor Swift and all of these pop artists be so famous? Exercise your right to say no. Don't be afraid of failure. Don't be afraid of rejection. And I'm going to leave you guys with this quote. Vulnerability is not weakness, and that myth is profoundly dangerous. Vulnerability is the birthplace of innovation, creativity, and change. Thank you.